Hey, Kami here with the first segment of my new series, Kami Academy. I wanted to cover more general gameplay tips due to how often champions can change each patch, making their guides almost obsolete. I'm looking at you, Buck. We'll be starting off with one of my favorite subjects, to be or not to be on the point. Now, some people I've come across in the realm have had this mindset of, let's stack 5 people on the point and just hold them off until we cap. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that they sound like that, my bad. Now, maybe at first glance this seems like the best strategy, but in reality it's hurting your team in the long run. Let's look at a point and I'll explain. Now, the first thing I want to note is the maximum speed of the capture rate is 3 people. This means that if you have more than 3, like a 4th or a 5th person sitting on the point, your capture rate will not increase. The second point I want to cover is you're sticking together a little too much. Staying synchronized is one thing, but stacking up into a one giant blob is a little too much. You're leaving yourself open to massive AoE chip damage, and there's another big reason why 5-man stacking isn't always the best option, and that is you're limiting your vision and ability to cut off routes. Now imagine you have 5 people on this point. Now look at all these angles and routes the other team can take to get to you. You've got 2 entrances here on the left, 1 straight forward, 2 from the right, and technically 1 from behind if you go for a hard flank. There's a lot of angles to cover while you're sitting in the middle of the open with little cover to hide behind. Instead of having 5 on the point, it'd probably be a better strategy to have 3 on the point, 1 over on the left side spotting out some enemies, and 1 on the right side doing the same thing. This allows them to knock opponents off their mount, get chip damage, and get that all-important information on what the enemy team is trying to get set up. Now, the last thing I want to cover is who should be on the point and who shouldn't be on the point. Now, there's no concrete answer to this. There's just certain champions that have more of a fit to be on the point due to their sustainability and tankiness. And actually, with the new iteration of the classes that Hi-Rez have implemented, it's pretty self-explanatory. Tanks do well on points, no way! Along with support champs. Now, I'm not saying they could go straight to the point, pop up a recliner, and start sipping on some margaritas. Whew, that sounds good. I mean, you could try to steamroll 5-man the point, but that's one of the many strategies you can go about while capturing a point. Just keep in mind that some champions aren't really meant to be near the point. I mean, what's Grover gonna do sitting on the point as enemies are coming in, chipping away at him with their guns? Again, Hi-Rez's new classes makes this easy to categorize these champions I'm referring to, and that is flankers. These champions have great mobility and can really do some damage flanking from routes I mentioned before. Or once you've secured the point, they can kind of push up near the enemy spawn, popping them off their mounts, getting damage in, just being like a gnat, being really annoying. Lastly, you have that damage group, which can kind of do both. I mean, Victor has his 0 cooldown mobility skill Hustle, allowing him to reposition a lot, so sticking him near the point is kind of hindering him. While Kinessa will probably want to set up near, on the point, or at a choke to shut down a route. Now, all these categories I or Hi-Rez have placed these champions in are not set in stone. It's more of a hint on what their kit allows them to do well. In the end, it's all about adapting to what your team, the enemy team's composition is, and overall teamwork. That should wrap everything up for this first segment of Kami Academy. If you like this video and want to see more, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to hear what you'd like to see in my next video, so pop in suggestions down in the comments section below. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm not gonna be one of those people who asks you to like and subscribe, so I'm not gonna ask.